is that time of the year. It's Christmas time. It's very much about family, your loved ones. But like I mentioned earlier, that can be a little bit triggering if maybe it's just a difficult time. If maybe you don't really get on with your loved ones, you don't really get along with your family. But what if you're co-parenting and you don't really get along with your co-parent? It could be a very, very difficult time. And if that is you right now, maybe you are stressed out. Maybe you're like, for goodness sake, can we just get this together for the sake of our children? Then please stay with me, because I got my first guest sat in front of me right now. Aaron, father of 2 boys, and the man behind the huge social media platform called Raising Boys to Men. And when I say huge, I'm talking 192,000 followers. He's leading healthy conversations around fatherhood and co-parenting, and he's transparent and he's vulnerable, and he's been helping many single parents navigate difficult dynamics with his platform, which has now turned into live events. Aaron, how are ya?
I'm blessed and I'm grateful. I'm mad grateful. Grateful to be here. Grateful for everything you just mentioned. 192,000.
That's crazy. You're an influencer.
No pressure, no pressure. It's come so quickly though. I think that's what's thrown me. January last year, 1,000.
Really?
Yeah. January last year, 1,000.
That is but you know what that is? That's testament to the fact that what you have been sharing is so needed.
Yeah. That's facts. I think it's something that not a lot of people like to talk about, but so many go through.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, 100%.
So I think it's really useful to get context. Actually, first and foremost, how are you? I've asked you that. You're grateful.
You've asked me that.
Yeah,
I'm grateful.
Good.
I'm grateful.
I just want to make sure you're settled.
I'm happy. I'm comfy. I might take this off though.
Take it off. Right, just so we get more context around why you decided to launch Raising Boys to Men. And I think actually just the why of everything is so important. Why did you want to share your parenting experience with the world?
You know what? It wasn't necessarily my parenting experience. It was more my childhood experience.
Right.
So for me, I was raised by just my mum. And I grew up on an estate with my dad and his other family. So my dad wasn't really there for me, but was visible, if that makes sense. And I think growing up, as a kid, you don't really understand certain things, so you put a lot of pressure on the parent that is there. And that for me was my mum. So as a child, you see things through a child's eyes, which is very selfish. What have I got? What do I need? Me. As an adult, you reflect back and you realize all of the things and expectations I had on my mum should have been on 2 parents.
Yeah.
But they were heavily on 1. And I think I've just wanted to create a platform that I wish my mum had when I was a kid, and that I had when I was a young co-parent.
Wow.
So there's my why.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're very empathetic. You must have a lot of empathy then.
I feel like, you know what, with empathy, I feel like it's dangerous.
Do you think?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'm too empathetic to the world. Like I feel so many emotions to the point where, I don't know, I feel like it can prevent you sometimes when you're too connected. You just feel everything.
Or do you just think it's because we're in a world where I guess it feels scary to feel too much because maybe some people are hiding their feelings? Could be that.
You know what?
Because I'm an empath. I'm very feel.
You really feel it? Yeah.
I feel it. I could cry at anything. I'm so feel, and then you kind of feel like, but why? I need to get on with life. It's not practical to have
so
all
you
these
feel
feelings.
bad when you're empathetic at times?
Sometimes, especially when you feel helpless and you can't actually do anything about it. But I guess in your position, you are doing something about it.
Yeah.
So there's power in that.
There's power in that. And I think there's power in regret. Right? I think regret is the seed that can lead to change.
Very true.
Yeah? And not a lot of people realize that. When you regret something, you feel guilty or you feel like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. But in reality, without that regret, it probably wouldn't have led to change. So I regret a lot that I'd done in my early co-parenting years. But it's led me to now be the man I am.
Again, the vulnerability, the transparency.
Yeah.
So now you are a father.
Of 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is fatherhood to you? Like, to you specifically? And through this platform, how would you summarize fatherhood?
Look at them questions there. You know what? She's good, you know. She's good. To me, fatherhood is awareness. It's mentoring, it's leadership, it's accountability. It's understanding that, these children come before me, but in terms of fatherhood as well, it's understanding that their wellness is also a reflection of their mum's wellness. And I think not a lot of people realize that. Like, to me, like, having the awareness that your child is happy if their mum's happy, like, that's not a lot of people realize that.
And let's dive into this as well. So through your 2 years now of speaking to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, what have you, because I'm guessing you have people in your DMs asking advice a lot of the time.
And more.
What are what is one of the most common things you are asked that we can address here on BBC Radio London about co-parenting?
A lot of questions in the sense of I hate questions that start with how can I get? How can I get my co-parent to like fix up or change this or change that?
And what is it about that sentence that you don't like?
You are not in control of what someone else does.
Say that again.
You're not in control of what someone else does. You're only accountable to your own actions. So there's no point in me giving you advice about how someone else is going to behave. That's completely in their control. And that already shows me your focus is on the wrong thing. I think if I was to say co-parent to you, immediately, most of you listening are going to think about the relationship between the two adults. But the important relationship is the relationship between the adult and the child. So we become co-parents and we forget to be parents. Because we're now focused on, what's going on with the other parent, or how well is this relationship, not realizing you're only there in order to parent your child. And that's where your focus should be.
I know there's some people taking notes or even side-eyeing people. I wanted to also ask, right, so I'm not a parent, I'm not a co-parent, I'm obviously not a father. However, I've learned so much from your platform anyway,
Thank you.
that I'm just even like, wow, I love this. But even what you said earlier, just about understanding almost parenthood through your child's eyes. And when you are a child, because we're all children, we all have experiences of guardians or parents. And we can forget, especially when we're children, that our parents have lives. Things are going on around them that might actually impact the way that they are. And we're human. We are human, especially if you're doing this for the first time. There's no handbook on how you do it right.
Nothing.
So if we're talking about co-parenting, oftentimes it means two people were in a relationship and they're no longer in a relationship, and there might be heartbreak, which I think is very difficult to navigate. What advice would you give someone that maybe is just freshly come out of a relationship, but they have children with the person that they once were in love with, and maybe there's heartbreak involved there, there's anger, there's resentment, there's pain, there's hurt. What advice could you give them to help keep, I guess, the children's lives as stable as possible?
I think it's so difficult because I've always said this. When you break, if me and you were in a relationship, and we broke up, no children involved, you could delete me off social media.
Block.
delete me from your phone. I'm gone out of your life. If we got a child together, you have to navigate that while still seeing me. So I think it's important to separate the relationships, right? What a lot of people struggle to do when they first break up is cut and create boundaries. So the co-parent still comes over late. You're still having conversations about the relationship. Everything still becomes about you two. And that makes everything so much more difficult. If you've decided for whatever reason to end the relationship or to break up with the mother or father, there now needs to be a line. And this line is between parents and the relationship. You can't keep crossing that line. You can't. I know it's easy to fall into old habits, but the worst thing you can do sometimes is not put that boundary in place. And I just think it's understanding that those emotions are natural, that you're going to feel upset, you're going to feel hurt, but you have a child there who you can invest all your energy into. Like, I love the fact that if I'm having a bad day or things aren't going well for me, I can go and see my children. That brightens my day. Not a lot of people have that. So although you're not together, you have the blessing of having a child.
Amen.
That's where your energy should be.
Facts. Another question, which I think there is a lot of conversation around, is can you be a good parent if you're not being, I guess, quote unquote, good or helpful to the other parent? Can you still be a good dad if like you are being not a very nice person to the mother and vice versa?
I think your behavior towards your co-parent is a reflection of your commitment to your child's well-being.
This is why I brought you on the show. Because we're going to disagree there. Yes. Please elaborate.
I think it's the empathy, right? It's understanding that if I'm making my child's, from a man's perspective, I'm talking about my children's mums here. If I'm making her life miserable and she's stressed, she's run down, she's not eating properly, all because of what I'm doing to her, who's seeing that? My child. Who's feeling that energy? If we're talking about empathy, my child might be late to school because his mum's not able to get up in the morning because I've been keeping her up all night arguing. So many things have an indirect and direct effect on my child. So being aware of your behavior towards your co-parent is a reflection of your commitment to your child's well-being.
Exactly. Right, okay, so it's Christmas. Also, if you just tuned in now and you're wondering, okay, who is talking right now? And I'm taking notes. They're probably taking notes. It's Arundel, who is the founder of Raising Boys to Men. Yes, this is your platform.
I've got to own it with chest.
Yes, you do, because your Instagram page is full of so many helpful videos. I personally love the conversations that you have with your sons. I think it's so helpful because also not everyone has that example. Not everyone does.
Yeah.
And actually to go and see a good example of how a father and a son can have those conversations, but also just how vulnerable you are as well. It's not every day that we get to see men being vulnerable and honest about their feelings. So I think you're doing a really, really good job, and I wanted to give you your flowers.
Thank you.
And
I haven't got any flowers to give you back.
It's fine. I'm side-eyeing. I'm joking. It's Christmas time. Which, I mean, it's all about family. Like I said when I was introducing you, that this could be just a very difficult time.
Yeah.
You're sharing the kids, per se. Who has the kids at what time of the day, on Christmas Day, presents, like money, food, all of this. What advice would you give to someone that may be struggling with, I guess, finding a fair way to balance the responsibilities of being a parent?
I think one thing that I've struggled with in the past is understanding co-parenting is not a competition. Yeah. I've always, when I was younger, it was what can I buy my child? I want to get them the biggest gift. And it's almost like I want to leave a stamp of look how great dad is, rather than necessarily thinking, well, what's going on their mum's side? Has she got money? Is she able to provide? Is she struggling? So I think understanding that Christmas it's about the children, right? So we want them to experience the best time, not just in one household, in both households. So again, connecting with each other, having communication, having healthy communication, and not making it a competition, because it doesn't benefit your child if you're competing against the other parent.
And it sounds like that the validation is maybe coming from elsewhere, and it's more out of spite.
It's definitely spite. Yeah. And you only spite your child in the long run. And I think I've always said this: what your children see now, they're going to understand differently when they're older. So they may see a parent showing up with big gifts, but then when they're older, they realize, wait a minute, that's all you was doing. So be mindful of what your child is seeing now. They're going to understand differently when they're older.
Yes. So after Christmas, then there's the new year. Which is always a great time to press the reset button sometimes.
Yep.
Maybe if you look back at your year, you're like, what is going on? There's certain behaviors that I want to change about myself. Whether you believe in New Year's resolutions or not, I think it's just naturally a time where we reflect.
Do you do vision boards?
I do.
Okay.
I've done one recently, actually, for the first time in a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't normally like cutting things out and sticking things down.
Oh, you go all out when you do it?
Well, yeah. Do you know what? Because I thought, let me do something different. I want to be intentional about going into my new year. I want to have a visual reminder of what my goal is and what it is that I want to do. So, yeah, I create vision boards.
Okay.
But is this going to be something that... Okay, let me ask you the question. 2024, there's someone listening right now who's like, I want to be a better parent, regardless of what my situation is with the co-parent. What can they do? Maybe it's just they want to start fresh. Things have gotten messy, almost out of control. What practical things can they do to make sure that 2024 is a healthier year?
I think, like I said, there's nothing you can do to control how the other parent is gonna treat you, right? So we're just gonna work on self here, right? So I think it's important to understand and remember the beauty in balance, right? I think sometimes we're always trying as men and women to overpower each other, right? Rather than understanding man and woman create balance. That balance is healthy for our children, yeah? So for me, remembering both of your roles are as important as each other. There isn't no, you know what, it's more important that the dad is around or isn't around. Both of your roles, ideally, if both of you are being healthy, happy and respectful, benefit your child. So remembering beauty in the balance. I think empathy is important. I had a really, empathy slapped me in the face a couple of weeks ago. I was ill and I must have had COVID or whatever was going around again. And I was in bed. Yeah, I woke up, I was shivering, I was hot, I was everything. And I was like, you know what? Today's a write-off. I was like, today is a write-off. I'm just going to stay in bed. And then I just had this moment and I thought to myself, wait a minute, if my child was here, I would have had to have got up and got him to school somehow. Or if he was ill, I would have had to have somehow checked and made sure he was okay. Because I don't live with my children, I don't really have those moments. My child's mum does. So that was a moment when I realized I feel terrible, but I have the luxury of being able to just write today off. She doesn't. I need to be more empathetic of that. And I think really tapping into that sometimes, thinking about what the other person may be going through. Yeah,
like you said, it's about the child, really, and just centering them in the middle of this. And also just, I think maybe some parents, and again, I'm not a parent, even though me and my mom have a lot of deep chats. And one thing I think maybe some parents might do, whether it's out of guilt or whatever, is maybe not take care of themselves and just want to do everything for the child, but to the point where they're just ignoring their own health, their own mental health, their own well-being, because it's like, well, I don't want to give to myself. I want to give it all to my children. Where's the balance in that?
You know what? I done a live event the other day and one of my friends was on there called Dwayne. Dwayne knows whatever. I want to shout him out. And he said he has to be selfish for selfless reasons.
Amen.
Yeah. And that just resonated with me so much. And I think you have to have those moments where all you care about is yourself because it benefits other people in the long run. If you are run down, you are no use to anyone. Being selfish for selfless reasons. I just want everyone listening, remember that when you're next feeling guilty or feeling like I can't take a minute to myself or I can't go to the gym or I can't do this or can't do that, be selfish for selfless reasons. It might help you look at things differently.
Definitely. You spoke about live events.
I did.
What's going on? Right, we're basically at the end of the year. So what's going on for you and your platform in 2024? Do we have more live events?
Well, that was one of the things on my vision board this year.
Oh.
Was a live event, and I did the Goodman Factory one, which I met you at, and then I did my own live event called Let's Talk About It, December the 8th, which was a day before my birthday. I thought,
happy belated birthday.
Thank you. 21 again. I'm not.
Listen, we're taking it, right?
We'll just keep moving, yeah.
We're plucking numbers out of the air now, yeah.
But I said, you know what? Let me just get a small venue and see if I can sell some tickets and have open and honest conversations with people that I genuinely respect talking to. And tickets sold out within like 3 weeks. So I was like, okay, this was a success. Let me do another one. And there's probably about 10 tickets left and tickets have been on sale for about 4 days. So that event is on February the 10th at the Front Room Space in Croydon. Myself and some guests that haven't been revealed yet. And we will be having open and honest conversations about everything, relationships, co-parenting, you name it. The audience get to ask questions and interact. Yeah, it's something I want to keep doing, creating a space where men and women can come, feel heard, feel understood, and talk. In a healthy dynamic as well, because that's definitely what I felt. In a safe space. Yes, that's what I felt when I came to the Goodman Factory's live event. It was just real honest conversations. Just no one was shouting at each other. It wasn't one-upmanship. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, let's figure this out. Grown. Yes, grown. 21 and grown. Okay, we're going to have to go to some music soon, but I wanted to just ask before I let you go, and we will get your socials and stuff as well to add to the
192,000 people following you. Soon to be 200K soon. What do your sons say about your platform? Have you had any words from them when you're like, oh?
You know what? As my eldest has gotten older, he's now more like, oh, Dad, I don't really want to do the videos. Yeah. I'm like, you're killing me. But if we go out and we're recognized, like the other day we was in IKEA and I wasn't dressed to impress at all because I was like, I'm going into IKEA. Come on, kids, let's just go. And then some guy came up and said, excuse me, my wife loves what you do. Can we get a photo? So we're in the middle of IKEA now, being like taking photos.
Packed.
People are looking at us thinking, who's this? And as we walked off, my eldest was like, that was so cool.
Oh,
Like he loved that.
yeah.
So I think he's recognized now. I think that part of it he loves. And my youngest, he just enjoys being in front of the camera. So it's a blessing. I wouldn't do it if they were genuinely uncomfortable or didn't want to do it. I think a lot of people think, is he forcing his children to have these conversations? It's genuine. Like, they enjoy doing it. I could show you the behind the scenes stuff. There's little jokes and laughters. So yeah.
But what you're also you're capturing their growth, which I think is beautiful as well.
That's one of the things. The platform wasn't always what it was. It was meant to be originally a virtual photo album. So we had something to reflect back on when we was older to say, look, do you remember this video, that video? And then as I became more open and transparent, people started to ask questions. From there, I was like, I guess people really want to know or are going through certain things. Let me help. Here we are today.
Here we are on BBC Radio London.
Yes.
Right, okay. Where do we actually go to just find and follow you, find out more about the live event, also just see these wonderful videos?
Instagram, raisingboys_2men. 2 is in the number 2. And the same on TikTok.
Brilliant.
And that's it.
Have you got any dancing videos on TikTok? Not yet?
Nah. I feel like I look like I should be able to dance, yeah.
No.
It's not in my mind I can dance, and sing.
But it's just in reality.
In my mind.
Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. And like I said, what you're doing and how you're using your voice and you're holding space to have these really important conversations is just really refreshing in a time like now where there are a lot of people using their voice and holding platforms, but they're not necessarily for the good. Do you know what I mean? I've got a younger brother, and oftentimes I have to ask, who are you watching on YouTube? Because we will have a chat. So I've even said to him, watch Raising Boys to Men.
Oh,
watch Good Man Factory, please.
Protective sister, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Please. But yeah, thank you so much. And I guess we also say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.